With great pleasure, I welcome you to the Nigerian Virtual Book Fair 2020.
And welcome to the 19th Annual Nigerian Book Fair.
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 Nigerian International Book Fair.
What have we done? If you publish a book and it doesn't get to the end user, that book is ugly.
Many bookseller associations fail. As our moderator pointed out, there is the inevitable conflict between individual success, running fastest, and association success, moving together.
First of all, let me congratulate all who have worked hard to take the traditional book fair online.
To all the executive members of KPA. Please, my chairman also sent his greetings. He cannot be here now, but he is with us in the spirit, and he said I should send his greetings to you and to the chairman KPA. We're looking forward to meeting you online very soon. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you and bye.
Thank you and greetings to my good friend Sami and all the best.
All the best.
Thank you.
Important, none of be possible. I'd like to specially thank
Education Limited is inviting you to visit our page, interact, and we are also looking forward to your placing orders or making purchases, which we will deliver. At the book fair, we're also going to have conferences, seminars, and workshops. The topics that we shall be treating are very relevant to everyone, especially at this time. And we're enjoying you all to attend these programs, which will be of good benefit to us all. So we shall be looking forward to seeing you as we interact at our page. Thank you. God bless.
Yeah.
Welcome to Quarterfold Printability, a trusted print partner for publishers all over Nigeria, including University Press PLC, Razmed Publications Limited, Learn Africa PLC, Tanis Books Limited, Spectrum Books Limited, Evans Brothers Limited, Shower Kitties Publishers Limited, Metropolitan Publishers Ltd. We are a leading and fast-growing print and publishing company in India with presence across the world and specializing in printing school books and educational print materials. We have the expertise to transform your project from on-screen concept to a final masterpiece, utilizing the best in technology and innovation to ensure that you get quality work. Whether you're looking for short lead times or have a tight budget, we are properly structured to provide outstanding print services that meet your needs without compromising on quality. Best of all, we partner with the largest shipping partners to ensure that you get your books delivered to you on time, every time. Trust your books to the book printing experts. Visit www.quarterfoldltd.com or reach out to us at quarterfoldltd.com for more information. We would like to thank all the publishers for their constant support, without whom none of this would be possible. We would like to specially thank
You're welcome to the fair. I invite you to the stand of Academy Press.
Oh, thank you, viewers, and welcome back into today's programs. Hope you have enjoyed all the programs we have staged so far today. We're about to start the last but not the least program for the day, which is the program I believe many children have been waiting for. It is going to be a very exciting children's program, which is commencing a few minutes from now. And let me, before I hand over to the moderator for this program, let me inform the children all over the world who are watching this program that this program is going to run for 3 days. So we are just starting today. And we are also going to have children's program on Saturday and Sunday. Please, we want you to invite your friends, invite your mates, invite your neighbors so that they can also enjoy and be part of this children's program. There are a lot of gifts to be won during this program. So that is why I don't want you to enjoy it alone. I want you to share with others. Let them also come around to be part of it. All you need to do is just to visit www.nigeriabookfair.com. When you are there, you will see the icon where you can register to be part of this program. And once that is done, then you are good to go to join us for the program. Without wasting time, I would like to hand over to the moderator for this program today, which is Mrs. Fumi Ilori. Mrs. Fumi Ilori, back to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us. This is the Nigerian International Book Festival, and this is the children's segment. Thank you, children, for joining us live today. We're going to be having this event for 3 full days. Today, on Saturday and Sunday. You need to call your friends and families. Let them be a part of this epic event. We have so many things lined up for all of you. We're going to be having a tour to all of the book festivals that happen in Nigeria. We also have a book festival that happened in the Shaga Book Festival. We'll be taking you there, so you need to relax. Make sure you're watching because we're going to be having a lot of questions and quizzes for you. After the book tour, you will be having the writer's crafts. This will be taken by Mr. Palu, our professor. He's a seasoned author, and he's going to be teaching us how we can also become writers. With this, you will be challenged to write your own books. I think he said something about winning. Would you like to win? Yes, I know you would like to win. There are many prizes for you. All the anchors and moderators, they're checking to see your activities. So this is the time for you to go into the chat room, send your name, send your information whenever you're answering any question, so that when we capture your details, we have everything that we need to send to you. iRead Mobile Library has also packaged many things for you. So for some of the children, we're going to be giving you scholarships into our Writers Academy. And the best of all is that every child that participates in this event will be getting free access, a full month free access into our e-library. You will be able to read unlimited books. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be moving on to the tourism, and let's see what we can about the book festivals in Nigeria. Cheers. All right, so we're going to see the tour of some of the
No one is there. Let me start for you. Start. Why I take it? Just continue talking that.
Al Ameri, the chief host and chairman of the Sharjah Book Authority, together with Mr. Mohammed Noor Hessi of the Sharjah Publishing City, was a highlight of the trip, and they were delighted to finally meet them.
It is our pleasure to support the extended competition because we believe in Sharjah Book Authority to spread the knowledge and literature, not only in the UAE. Our main goal is to spread the literature everywhere in the world and everywhere around the world. And we always find as a supporter for the languages and for reading and literature in Africa. We sponsored the conference had an idea.
Yes, in Lagos.
Yeah. And from there the idea came naturally. So that we're going to be supporting also Kenya and so on. So we can find us everywhere in the world. You can see us a lot and you can see a lot of books of literature. We promote reading and literature everywhere in the world.
All right, so this video tells us about the Sharjah Book Festival, and here is one of the largest book festivals in the world. It has more books than you can ever imagine. There's also the children's segment that I'll be showing you in a bit, but let's enjoy this version. All right, so in this version, this is the Children Book Festival, where the children have lots of fun.
The Children's Reading Festival in Sharjah is really wonderful. For me, when I stepped in here, it was mixed feelings. I'm very excited to see what people are doing all over the world to encourage reading, particularly to encourage children.
Children learn how to configure truths. How to
So we see here that the children learn how to paint, they learn how to draw, they learn about technology. They also have a lot of access to books and reading. Even how to play football.
And there was a fascinating exhibition corner for illustrators.
Here's the section for illustrators, and you will also be participating in some drawings.
We really enjoyed the book festival, and there are many different books that you can read, and for many different ages, and each person can have fun by reading books. And the thing is, those activities that are really good and can help you in life. They have painting. You could sing. You can decorate cupcakes. You can you can recreate. Yeah. You can color. You can draw. You can do whatever you want. Experience here, like before when I came here, it was little different like this. Now they have given an improvement on books and on activities like doing all things like instruments, the things, the ball, silk, and they've done very much very good improvement. So I suggest that this have improved very well.
Through the Children's Reading Festival, Sharjah once again provides another template for cities around the world to study in the bid to improve the reading culture of their city. at this, but if you compare the things we have seen there with those we have observed here, please be on the lookout for this. Well, I hope you have had a great time with us today. As always, we'll be happy to get to back to any of our social media. I am on Abdullah Castle. Remember.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. That was a documentary from the Channels Book Club when some children were taken to for the Sharjah Book Festival. At this event, even though this is virtual, we still hope to have so many.
I've developed a system that's making it possible for people of all different skill levels to learn very quickly. It's based on something I developed called
It's okay. All right, Mr. Pelofes, are you set for us? Or I'm not sure. I'm not sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear you anymore.
It's okay. Just go ahead.
Okay, all right. So let me just try and share my screen and then begin to talk to the topic of the day. Just a second. Okay. Okay, please, can you see my screen? You can't? Can you see it now? Can you see it now? You can see it now. You can, right? Okay, fine. So, all right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, kids. Good afternoon, guests. Thank you to Nigeria International Book Fair, the virtual edition for 2020. And thank you to the iRead Library for asking me to come and host this particular session for the children. I'm especially always happy when I have the opportunity to talk to kids, because I believe that if you are going to have children become good at whatever it is that they do, the best time to teach them is when they are very young. I began to understand my interest in writing when I was maybe in my early secondary school. So I began to pay more attention to it. I read a lot and I wrote a lot while I was in secondary school, into the university and all of that. So I believe that the best time to catch them is to catch them young. So I'm speaking to the topic, the writer's craft. And there is an extension. After talking about the writer's craft, I want kids to be able to understand that there is a lot more to writing than just writing to pass examinations in this school. Okay, there are a very wide array of opportunities to become a writer, earn a living from writing, and become, a very important person in society as a writer. So without wasting much time, let me go to the next slide. So there is always, please let me know if there is anything, if you can't hear me anymore, or if you can't see my slides, so I can make the necessary corrections, because it affects the flow. So the question comes up every time: are writers born or made? There are two ways to answer the question. I can say writers are born. You can't make a writer. I can also argue that, writers are born and they are also made. I'll go with the second answer. So a writer is born. For example, someone like myself, like I said at the beginning, I understood that I had the qualities of a writer even from when I was very young. I realized that I was interested in the English language. I was interested in reading a lot. I read a lot of novels. So if you find yourself reading a lot as a child, then there is every likelihood that you will be a very good writer, because a good writer begins from being a good reader. So you can actually become a very good writer just on the basis of reading alone. But you can't become a very good writer from just reading, but it's a very good beginning. Then a writer then needs to go through a series of training. The same way you can train someone to be a good mechanic, the same way you can train someone to be a good baker who can bake a bread, who can bake a cake, the same way you can train someone to be a good tailor, people can also be trained to become good writers. So what exactly is writing? Writing is learning. When you write, it is a way for you to learn. For example, you're thinking of an idea in your mind and you begin to put it down. By writing it, essentially, you are teaching yourself something, all right? Even if it's like you're pouring your mind out into a page, by the time you're done, you are essentially teaching yourself something that you may not have realized before. When you write, you are also thinking. Writing helps you to develop your thinking faculties. And as a human being, we ought to be doing that often. We ought to be thinking, we ought to be giving our minds something to think about. Writing is understanding. If you read something, if you are taught something and you don't understand it, a good way to actually come to a better understanding is to write. The more you write, the more you understand. Even as teachers, when we teach, we get to learn more things. When we write, we get to understand our topics even more. Today, while I was preparing this particular presentation, there were things I knew before now that I got to relearn again. So you never stop learning as a writer. Writing is influence. you need to know the number of people around the world who have become very influential because they can write. By a piece of writing, you can change the world. With a piece of writing, you can change situations, you can change circumstances. Writing an opinion, for example, can help people see things in a different light. If you're able to write and let people change their mind, their perception about something, then believe me, you have influenced them in a way. People will read your writing, you may not even know, okay? But by writing quality stuff, by writing things that people can actually think about, it's a way to influence. It's a way to influence people's opinion. Writing, again, is also imagination. Okay, I'll get to the nitty-gritty of this particular one later in the presentation. Because to be able to put a sentence together, to be able to write a couple of sentences and turn them into paragraphs, and then turn them into a whole piece of writing, it is imagination that is involved. You don't just wait that you want to write, and then you begin to join them together word by word, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. And then you have a full piece of writing. And then the last but not the least for this slide is that writing is a process, okay? There is a process to writing, okay? And I'm going to get to that later on. Writing begins from when the idea begins to occur to you. An idea drops in your mind and you're beginning to think, oh, I could write something about this. Or, oh, what is this thing that I'm saying about? You're trying to understand a particular scenario. And then the moment the idea drops into your mind, it goes into the next step, which is you begin to think of the different ways you can put that thought in writing. And the different ways you can put it in writing at the same time, share it with an audience, share it with the public, share it with your friends, share it with your family. So it goes from there and there and there until it becomes a piece of published writing. So I'm going to now devote some time into the writing process. I've tried to do that in brief right now. So I said, so take note of what you're seeing on the screen. Because of time, I understand I have about 30 minutes or 45 minutes. There's so much I can talk to you about writing, but I'm about to select a few key points that can help you on your way to becoming a writer. So if you have any questions that you want me to address in the course of this presentation, just put it in the chat window, and then I'll have a look at it, or the moderators will let me see it, and then I can speak to it. So the very first thing, like I said, is an idea. When you have an idea, the idea is just an idea. You need to take an idea from just that to a piece of creativity, a piece of writing. And then before it becomes that writing, you also need to reflect on it. You also need to think through it. You need to say, in what way do I want to approach this subject? Do I want to write this thing as a poem? Do I want to write it as a journal entry? Do I want to write it in my diary? Do I want to write it as a letter to an editor? Do I want to write? Do I want to? So Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. Okay, I was muted. So let me just run down this. I said you have an idea, you reflect on the idea, you research a bit into the subject, you put it down in writing, and then you let it go through a period of, you are advised as a writer after you've written anything to leave it for a while, maybe for a day, for 2 days, for a few days, if you have the luxury of time. Let it just be away from the writing for some time. And then when you return to it, you can look at that piece of writing with a fresh pair of eyes, and then you will be able to slice when you were writing it in the full, when you are fully into the writing. So there's editing, you require editing. You also require to proofread your work before it becomes something that is published for the world to see. All right, where do ideas come from? Ideas can come from everywhere, all right? And it's important as a writer to have a jotter with you all the time, okay? A writer is always encouraged to have a piece of, a jotter, something small. I'll show you my own jotter. This is a jotter that goes with me all the time, everywhere I go. I have, every time you see me holding a want to have with you, it doesn't have to be this small. It could be something a little, bigger than this. But you need to always have a jotter with you and a pen, because ideas will occur to you. It could be that you are right in your own house, on your own home, and something occurs to you. You can always quickly put it down. You may be walking on the street. You may be going to school. You may be going to church. You may be having a play with your friends. You may be at a leisure park. You may be watching the cinema. Or you may be at the cinema watching a film. You may be just anywhere, and they say change, runs the world or rules the world. You never can tell where an idea can take you. An idea can go from being just an idea to being a best-selling short story, a best-selling novel, a best-selling screenplay. So don't joke with the ideas that occur to you. I get ideas every now and then, and I believe that you also do, because as a human being who thinks, as a human being who is alive and going about their daily responsibilities, ideas occur to us all the time. They may not be ideas we can write about, but because we're talking about writing right now, ideas for writing can come to you at any time. It could be at the workplace for any adult who is with us in this session. It could be where you go. It could be when you are visiting somewhere. It could be while reading. An idea just drops in your mind. I've lost count of how many times I've had an idea by just reading a book, by just reading a newspaper article, by just reading a line or two, by reading a quote. Ideas have occurred to me that have eventually followed through to become what I wanted them to be. And it could just be you're having a conversation with your friends, idea could come to you. So never, never, never joke with an idea. Ideas are what become pieces of writing. So what do writers write about? There are two broad categories of writing, okay? There is fiction and there is non-fiction. Many people don't understand. Sometimes they confuse things by saying, oh, what is fiction? What is non-fiction? Fiction is a piece of writing that involves creating things from an imaginary world, okay? The novels that you read, the movies that you watch, I believe that we all watch films a lot. So somebody has sat down to create that world that we are looking at, whether be it in a novel, where you're watching cable TV, somebody sat down to create that world. I'm not sure what examples of films, I don't know what films are popular right now. But if you like Spider-Man, if you like, if you enjoy watching X-Men, if you enjoy all the films that have become blockbusters right now, they were initially fiction. Somebody sat down to create them. If you have novels that you as fiction, so fiction can be short stories, they can be novels, like I've said, and novels can come in different shapes and sizes. They can come in different formats. A novel can be a romance, it can be fantasy, it can be sci-fi, it can be horror, it can be anything. There are different types of novels. I've talked about films which are actually based on screenplays. Films are developed from screenplays which are written by writers. It could be a piece of drama as in stage performances. Somebody sits down, creates a storyline, using fictionalized characters, and then they make it so believable to the point where we will even imagine that that thing actually existed, or they are writing from real life experiences, okay? So even plays and fiction, they come from, sometimes they borrow from real life experiences. That's why they say art imitates life sometimes. So when a writer sits down to write, sometimes they pick from things that they've experienced themselves. They pick from things that other people have shared with them, and then they now create stories around them using different names, using fictionalized names. Fiction also includes comics and cartoons, and also comedy. When you watch a short clip on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, those things are fiction. Somebody created them for us to be entertained, all right? So again, the second broad division of writing is what is called nonfiction. And nonfiction is what I do as a writer. I don't create anything from my imagination. I write what I experience. I write the things that I see with my eyes, all right? And in this category are blogs, articles, essays, speeches. There's something called speech writing. Somebody writes there and it's nonfiction. When you are told to write a report about something, maybe, reports can also come in different, in different formats. But when you are told to write a report, maybe you go for an excursion, a 3-day excursion in a different state, in a different country. And your teacher who took you there said, I want you all to write a report about this excursion. That is nonfiction. Reviews are also things that come under nonfiction. You can write a book review. You can write a product review. You can write a review about music. You can write a review about services. You can write a review about a restaurant. You can write a review about your stay in an hotel. So those things come under nonfiction. Biographies and autobiographies are also nonfiction. The same for travel writing. Travel writing is what I do for a living. I'm a travel journalist. I write about people, about places that I visit. And in my bio, I'm not sure you read it, but I've written about 4 books. I'm working on my 5th right now. All my writings are based on my experiences as a traveler. So you can also, so what I'm trying to do by breaking it down for you is for you to begin to see that writing is broad. You can choose one out of several possibilities. So you can either choose to become a nonfiction writer, writing stories from your imagination. So something that is more business-like in writing, when you are done with school and you get a job as an advertising practitioner, another writing that you get to do is what is called copywriting. Copywriting, when you watch adverts on radio, when you watch adverts on TV, when you listen to advertising on radio, and you read a piece of ad copy in a newspaper or a magazine, they are written by writers and they are called copywriters. So I'm not sure, let me see whether I can have a peep into the chat room. Maybe I can look at that later on. So what I've tried to do in this slide is to give you a bit of some writing prompts. As young people, I want you to begin to test your imagination. I want you to activate your thinking processes. Besides just reading your text in school for academic reasons, for you to sit for a test, for you to pass your examination, I want to encourage you to begin to write on a regular basis. Pick a topic, pick a subject. Just see how you can come up with ideas and then write about them. So for example, I'm asking you in this slide to think about any of these topics. Write about your best time of the day. Write about your favorite meal of the day. Write about an incident you won't ever forget, something that happened to you, whether something that you won't forget because of a negative thing that happened, or something you won't forget because it was so memorable that it leaves a very pleasant memory in your mind. Write about your favorite subject. Write about what you do on weekends. On a typical weekend, what do you do? I believe you must have attended a birthday party before. You know, it could be your own birthday party. It could be the birthday party of a friend of yours, of your classmate. Write about that birthday party. Okay. Do you ride a bicycle? Have you learned how to ride a bicycle? Write about what it meant, what it was like to ride a bicycle. Okay. If you don't know how to ride a bicycle, okay, tell someone who has learned how to ride a bicycle to tell you what the experience was like, and then write about it. Okay, so the next writing prompt is, what is your favorite TV program, TV show? So I put a dash in there, fill in the blank. Why dash is my favorite TV show? You can write about that as well. Write about the friends you made during the holidays. Okay, write about 5 things you learned during the lockdown. Okay, and then you can also write about your school excursion when you were in school, when the session was on. Right now, we've all been under lockdown, so you've not been in school. So I'm just sharing all of these ideas, which is for you to see that ideas can come from anything as small as your best time of the day to something as I don't want to use the word complex, something as, you know, as evolved as your favorite place to spend the holidays. You know, you can consider all of those topics to write about, but for this particular session, I would like for you, with the permission of my host, NIBF and iRead, I would like to see all the kids in this session write about the street that they live in. I would like for you to write about the street that you live in. Okay, and when I'm saying write about the street that you live in, essentially what I'm saying is that look at your street. Tell us what is unique about your street. Write about what you like about your street. Tell us what a visitor to your street will see. For example, we can't be everywhere, but we want you to bring your street to life to us, the people who are going to read it. Tell us what your street is like. Tell us whether it's a tarred road, whether it is a stony road. Tell us whether you have high traffic on your street. Tell us whether people sell on your street. Tell us whether people park vehicles. Just paint a scenario of the street you live in. Make it as comprehensive as possible, so that when we look at it, we can actually say, oh, this is what Mafoluku Street in Mushin looks like. This is what Martins Avenue looks like in the Lekki area. This is what Balogun Street looks like in Ikeja. It could be anywhere in the country. Just write about your street. There is going to be a prize for the. Move on to the next slide. I'm not sure how much time I have left. And when you are considering your writing, for example, I've given you an example. I've given you an assignment to write about your street. One thing you need to one thing you need to put in mind is that any piece of writing has 3 broad elements. There is an opening, there is a middle, and there is opening needs to be. And you need to make sure that your opening is very catchy. Your opening, your opening sentence, your opening paragraph, it's one of the most important things, or one of the most important parts of a piece of writing. If you don't get people interested in the beginning of your writing, then you're not going to interest them enough to read what you have to say. And every writer wants their writing to be read from the beginning to the end. So that opening is very important. Your opening is the first sentence, it is the first paragraph. And then the middle is you developing your idea. You are fleshing it out. You are telling them more things about what you have opened with. And then, so an opening can be a paragraph or 2. A middle can be 2 paragraphs or 3. And then after writing all of that, you then bring your writing to a very logical conclusion, which is the ending. So bear in mind, anytime you sit down to write anything, from when you have the idea to when you research it, to when you want to begin to write, ensure that you already put your thoughts together to the point where you're able to say, this is the way I'm going to start my article or my story or my writing. I'm going to build upon that to the middle, and then I'm going to end it in a particular way. Just as the writing, the opening is important, the ending is also very, very important, because in the ending, you are trying to leave people, we are trying to let people get away with something in their mind, something that will be like very touching, something they will not want to forget, something that they will say, wow, this is a very good piece of writing. So the ending is also very important. So for example, let's look at the scenario of a film. So a film starts very well, it starts in a very catchy way, it develops into, you see the writers develop the storyline, and then they end, and sometimes, you know, and then sometimes you see that sometimes when we read a novel, we cry. Sometimes we read a novel, and at the end of the novel, we are very, very angry. Sometimes we read a novel or a piece of story, a bit like angry now, sitting there. Why did the author have to do this? Why did the author have to do that to that? I remember a story I read when I was very young. It's titled The Bride Price. The Bride Price by the late Buchi Emecheta. I'm not sure how many of you have read it, but that is one story I read in my teenage years that I've not forgotten in a long time, because the story was about a young girl who went through so much. I think she was abused, or maybe she got pregnant or something like that. And at the end of the day, if I am not mistaken, it's been many, many years ago, the lady died, the young girl died. And I felt so pained in my spirit that why will this lady be, why would she die? Or why would she end up in this way? So writers have a power to touch our emotions. So it is a very key thing that you also need to know. You also need to be able to get to us emotionally as a writer. Your readers must be able to read you and feel touched. They must be able to leave your piece of writing knowing that they're taking something away. Either they are angry, or they are smiling, or they love what they've read. They just say, oh, this is beautiful. This is a very, and then they now, based on that, recommend your writing to somebody else. Okay, so it's not easy to achieve that, but it is doable, it is possible. Writers have been doing it for centuries. Okay, so just think about novels you read yourself and see that, and remember what sort of reaction you had to that story. And then you will understand what I'm trying to say. So besides that particular categorization, there is also a trick to writing. This is actually what you are taught as a journalist. When you're in journalism, you are taught this particular template, which is, so it's called the 5 W's and H. If you look at my list on this template, you will see who, what, where, when, why. Not all writing can fall into this category, okay? But most of the time they do. So for example, you are writing about, I'm sure you listen to the news all the time. So sometimes you listen to the news and you hear that, let me look at a very good example to use. So you are listening to the news, and then, sorry, just a second. Okay, so you're reading the news, and then, for example, the news report says that there was an accident at a particular, in a particular road junction on an highway, you know, in the state where you live. If a journalist or a writer is going to write that story, is going to say, it's going to begin with what happened. An accident happened. Who were the people involved? Two cars, one lorry, you know, were involved in the accident. Where did it happen? It happened in the Ikeja area. When? What time of the day? It was during rush hour. It was during the lunch time. It was around 2 p.m. It was during the rush hour on the way back home. You know, so, and then why? Why would an accident happen in that particular area? It could be due to overspeeding. It could be because a traffic officer did not do his work well, and then he passed the wrong line of traffic and then something happened. And then you go a step further after breaking it down to who, what, where, when, and why, you break it down to how did it happen? And then by the time you could answer all of these questions, you've been able to write a complete story. I need to know that everybody is with me. Oh. Okay, hello. Okay, did someone tell me, just tell me please, if you are hearing what I'm saying, please put it in the chat so I know that you are hearing me. And I don't know what was the last thing I said and what was the last thing you heard. Okay, thank you. I don't know what was the last thing. I don't know what was the last thing I said at you, but I was just trying to explain to you how to use the who, what, where, when, and why, and then taking it further by describing the how. And I use the example of an accident. For example, an accident happens in an area where you live, and you want to write about that accident. So a journalist who has been trained to use these guidelines will want to begin with saying, what happened? What happened? It was an accident that happened. Where did it happen? It happened in Ikeja, it happened in Cairo, it happened in Ibadan, it happened in Kano. Which part of Kano? In the city center. All right. Who were the people involved? Maybe a lorry and a car, maybe a truck and a bicycle, or a machine and Okada or something like that. Why would an accident like that happen? You give a reason why, and then you just explain the why, the how. So by using all of those guidelines, you are able to write a comprehensive, concise piece of reporting or story that everybody can actually, people can read it and picture what it is you're trying to talk about. So that's what happens when you listen to a piece of news on TV, when you listen to news on radio, when you read a piece of news in the newspaper. That is what the journalists have been trained to follow, that guideline. So I'm almost through with my presentation. I have one or two more slides, so let me just go quickly to it. So at this point, I'm going to give you some writing tips. Like I said, there is no way I'm going to be able to put everything about writing in a 40-minute, 45-minute piece of presentation. One of the things I'll tell you to do is know your subject. Whatever it is you're trying to write about, know that subject. And knowing the subject means either you experience it and you can talk about it firsthand, or you research. Researching a topic or a subject is a way to know that subject. It means that you are now able to talk about it with authority, okay? Take notes, like I said, always have a jotter with you. Take notes, take plenty of notes. Your notes will also help when you're trying to put your article or your story together. Before you begin to write, try and sketch out an outline. When you have an idea, when you've thought about it very well for some time, when you've done a bit of researching that you need to do, you need to begin to sketch out an outline that will guide how you eventually put your story together. Keep a journal. It's very, very important. I always encourage young people when I teach them to keep a journal. I used to keep a journal when I was in secondary school. Of course, I can't find them anymore. And when I became an adult, you know, I keep a journal even up to now, even though sometimes I don't put anything on it every day, but I try to keep something, just put your thoughts down. It's all, sometimes you can actually keep it. I mean, it's either a journal or a diary. You know, you're encouraged to have something like that. As a writer, you need to keep on writing every day, all right, so that you are able to produce something qualitative on a daily basis, on a regular basis. It's also advised that you keep to an established routine. I'm a writer, I'm a journalist, I write all the time. There's no day that passes that I don't write. The more you write, the more your mind is attuned to writing. And then you're able to produce quality piece of writing on a regular basis. And of course, like I said at the beginning, good writing comes from being a good reader. If you don't read very well, if you don't read a lot, you are never going to be able to write well. So if you see that you read a lot, it means that you should begin to consider becoming a writer. Maybe not a professional writer, but also a writer that can write things. You can choose, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be a sports person, you can be anything, but writing is integral to whatever profession you choose to settle on. If you start to work, you will need to write something in the office. You will need to write an email. You will need to write a report. You will need to write a profile of something. You will need to write minutes of a meeting. There are so many things we would need to do as professionals, even if we are not professional writers. So those are the few tips that I'm going to leave with you as I try to close my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I've been able to teach you something worthwhile, you know, to make you become a better writer than you were yesterday and a better writer as you go forward. Thank you very much, Mrs. Laurie. Thank you, iRead. And thank you to the Nigeria International Book Fair for hosting such a fantastic session for children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kolofe. So this is loaded. My journal is full. It was as if I was the one learning. But I'm sure that the children have learned a lot. And Mr. Kolofe has challenged us to say that we should get into writing. There is no way you can be a good writer without being a good reader or without keeping a journal. You need to keep a journal so that you can be a good writer. And the assignment we have is to write about our streets. I feel so excited because we have loads of prizes to be won, but there is something fantastic that is coming out from this. Mr. Kolofe has volunteered to edit our work and also ensure that we publish it into an ebook that the world will be able to read. For you to participate in this challenge that is posing to us, you need to write about 2 pages about your street. Go outside of your street, observe all the things around your street, put it into writing, you type it out, ensure it's not more than 2 pages, write your name, the name of your school, and your parents' phone numbers. You can also include your parents' email address. Then send your entry to info@iread.com.ng. Info@iread. iRead is spelled I-R-E-A-D. iRead. info@iread.com.ng. Send your entries there. You have just 1 week to forward your entries. Write about my street. I'm going to write 2 because I want to try to win something. I'm challenging you. Make sure you submit your entries so that Mr. Kolofe can follow up with you. Now, every child that submits the entry would be part of our publishing. But for the children that become top, we're choosing the top 6 entries. You will be automatically given a scholarship into iRead's Writers Academy. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on board. Thank you so much, Mr. Ofessor. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And next on the agenda is someone that is very, very fun-loving, and I've been very excited to have her on board. How many of us know how to speak our local dialects? You can speak Yoruba, Igbo, Edo, Hausa, Irobo, Ondo, Ijebu. What can you speak? Are you sure? Okay, so I assume that you can speak your language. But guess what? There is someone here to teach us a foreign language. And that foreign language is a language that is going to be very useful for you now and even later. And that is the French language. Good. So please join me in welcoming in French the teacher, Tante Christine. All right. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Miss Glory. Bonsoir, bonsoir,
Bonsoir.
Comment ça va?
Ça va bien, merci. Et vous?
Ça va bien. Applaudissez. Très bien, très bien. Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. Bonsoir à tous. Je m'appelle Tante Christine. Good evening, everybody. My name is Christine Daniel, but my students call me Tante Christine. Tante Christine is Auntie Christine. Simple. It's not Tante. It's Tante. Tante Christine. Thank you very much, Mr. Lori, for this opportunity. Thank you to Nigerian Virtual Book Fair. It's awesome. Mr. Pelu, thank you very much. I learned a lot, and I'm sure the children also learned a lot. It was actually a mind-blowing section. Thank you very much for that.
Good to see you, Christine. Thank you. I appreciate
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Okay. Okay, should I speak English now or should I speak French? I don't know. All right, we'll mix it all up. Je m'appelle Tante Christine. J'ai étudié la langue française. I'm Christine Daniel. I studied French language in University of Jos and then my master's in Unilag. I am an early childhood educator and I love children. I am passionate about French language and I love to teach French language, okay? I make learning French fun for kids. So whether it's one-on-one, online, I make the language fun because you can't learn a language when you don't love a language. All right, children, I'd like you to understand something. Talking about language learning now, generally for children, it's very important. Be it French, be it your mother tongue, it's very important, okay? Learning a language helps a child's intellectual development. It helps you to multitask. It opens your mind. And if you're a reader, you are actually a global child because you get to read about the world. You get to read about people and read about different things, their culture and their tradition. So imagine if you can speak a little of those languages, it connects you to people. So it's very important to, it's very important for children to be taught a second language, a third language. And the beautiful thing is that children have an open mind. They can learn as many languages as you expose them to, no matter how little it is, okay? Imagine if you go to a strange land and you hear someone say hello in your language, there's a connection it brings. And that's the same thing. French is one of the most popular. We all know that Paris is a beautiful place and a whole lot of people want to visit France, and it's going to be beautiful when you get there to be able to say one or two things in French language, okay? So today we're going to be talking about the library. And in French, library is called bibliothèque. All right, I'd like you to say that after me about the library, and the names of some of the things we find in the library in French, okay? So I'd like you to listen very, very well. Be conscious of your pronunciation, okay? You want to speak French and you want to speak it right, all right? So you listen properly and try to pronounce the words the way I pronounce it, so that after today, you'll be able to say, yes, I know what a library is called in French. I know what a librarian is called in French. I know what the books and some other things that you find in the library can be called in French, okay? All right, let me share my slide right now. Sorry. Sorry about that. Let me get this. All right, I believe you can see my slide right now. Okay, so on va commencer. Dans la bibliothèque, in the library. Dans la bibliothèque, in the library. Now, a library in French is called une bibliothèque. Une bibliothèque. Répétez, une bibliothèque. Okay, that's what a library is called in French. And a librarian is called bibliothécaire. Bibliothécaire. Une bibliothèque, that's a library, and bibliothécaire is a librarian. All right, some of the objects we can find in the library, we have textbooks, and in French we call that les livres. Les livres. Les livres. Textbooks. L'étagère à livres. L'étagère à livres. Bookshelf. OK? Répétez. L'étagère à livres. L'étagère à livres. Le globe terrestre. Le globe terrestre. Le globe terrestre. I hope you are repeating after me so you get your pronunciations right. So the globe, the world globe in French is called le globe terrestre. The next thing is, in every library you have a chair, and in French a chair is called la chaise. La chaise. La chaise. La table. La table. La table. That's a table. L'ordinateur. L'ordinateur. Now at this point, do not concentrate on the words, the French words written, because you might pronounce your words wrongly, okay? Listen attentively and repeat. L'ordinateur, l'ordinateur, l'ordinateur. And that is what? A computer. La carte. I believe in every library you'll see a map. Okay, and the map is called la carte. La carte. Les dictionnaires. Les dictionnaires. Les dictionnaires. Is there a library without a dictionary? I don't think so. So you can see various kinds of dictionaries. Les dictionnaires. Le journal, le journal, le journal. That's newspaper. La bande désignée. La bande désignée. Encore. La bande désignée. Comics, comic books. L'atlas, l'atlas. Just the same with your English. L'atlas. Les jeux, games, les jeux, les jeux. Le drapeau, le drapeau. And that's flag. L'horloge, l'horloge, l'horloge. That's clock. La salle vidéo, la salle vidéo, la salle vidéo. That's a video room. La salle vidéo. La salle vidéo. Très bien. I hope you had fun learning some of those things we can find in the library. Now, children, let me hear you. Let's see how many you can remember. Let's see how many. So, what's a bookshelf called in French? You can type it in the comments or just echo it, okay? What's a bookshelf called in French? L'étagère à livres. L'étagère à livres. Très bien. Okay, so what do we call a newspaper in French? Do you remember? Le journal. Très bien. Le journal. And so what do we call this in French? A computer. L'ordinateur. L'ordinateur. Beautiful. And this is what? Le dictionnaire. Les dictionnaires. Merci, 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 merci. I would like you to type in as much of the objects we can find in the library, okay, that you have learned. Let me see how many you can remember. Just try and type in the comments and so that I will, okay, see and be sure that you learned some. Le français est une belle langue. And if I still have some time, I think I'm going to teach you a short French song. Le français est une belle langue. French is a beautiful language. Okay, I hope you had fun learning some of the objects, some of the things that we can find in the library in French, okay? So you can tell your friends, I know what a library is called in French. It's called une Miss Laurie, can you remember what is a library called in French?
Une bibliothèque.
Très bien. Une bibliothèque. Très bien. The library is called une bibliothèque. That was fun, right? And
Yes,
okay, let me try again. What's a librarian called? Do you remember that?
Une bibliothèque.
Une bibliothécaire. Une bibliothécaire. Très bien, très bien, très bien, très bien. So learning the new language can be so much fun and it can be mind-blowing. If you don't love a language, you can't learn that language. So you need to develop interest and, you know, don't say, what am I going to use it for? Even your mother tongue is very, very important, okay? Every language you can learn is very important. You don't know where you're going to find yourself tomorrow. A lot of people have missed out very important opportunities because they can't speak French or any international language. So the world is a global village. You need to learn as much languages as you can so you can communicate with the world at large. But before we go, please, Miss Laurie, can I teach them a French song?
Yes, please. We have about 15 minutes more. So we have enough time to learn. Good.
Okay, that's beautiful. So I'm going to teach you this French song, and it says, French is a beautiful language. Okay? Répétez après moi. It means repeat after me.
After me.
Le français. Le français.
Le français.
Est une belle langue.
Belle langue.
Beautiful. It just means French is a beautiful language. Okay? Now say parler français. Parler français. Speak French. Okay? So let me teach you the song. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Je dis la vérité. Je dis la vérité. Oh. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Allez français. Parlez français. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Je dis la vérité. Je dis la vérité. Oh. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Did you like that song? It simply means French is a beautiful language. I love French language. I am telling you the truth. French is a beautiful language and I love French language. Okay? French is indeed a beautiful language. And when you love French, you learn to speak French. Never ever say it is difficult. No, nothing is difficult. All you need to do is believe in yourself, put in the hard work, learn and practice, and you will learn, okay? And you will learn. Now, let me tell you some importance of learning French language. Apart from the fact that you can travel to France and speak French language, do you know that when you learn French language, when you learn French language, you have the opportunity of working with international organizations, okay? Now, when you learn French language, you're not only limited to Nigeria. Do you know that Nigeria is surrounded by a lot of French-speaking countries? It simply means you can communicate. You can travel to these countries, communicate with them, and even get jobs there. Recently, I had a friend who her husband was just transferred to Ivory Coast. And she suddenly remembered me and like, please, Christine, I need you to teach me French. I can't even communicate. I can't do anything here. Now, little did she know that one day she was going to need French language. So at this point of her life, she's learning the language alongside with her children. So please, children, never say, I don't need it. Never say it's not important. Grab every opportunity that you have to learn French because it's a beautiful language. Do not limit yourself. Learning a language opens up your mind. It opens your mind. It helps you understand other people's culture. It helps you understand their way of life. It helps you understand that you're not alone in this world. The way we do things in Nigeria, our culture, our way of life is different from the way they do things in France. It's different from the way they do things. It's even what our dressing, everything is different. So when you learn a language, you don't just learn that language. I've learned French. I didn't just learn French language. I learned about French culture. I learned about their tradition. I learned about their way of life, okay? So when you learn French language, you are exposed. You know, you want to read about France. So when you're reading a book and it's talking about France and the way France people live their life, you'll find out that you can relate because you already understand the language, okay? So open your mind. You have limitless opportunities. And you know the beautiful thing is that when you start early, it's your best bet. When you start learning French at an early stage, it's easier for you to grab it. Unlike when you're much older and you want to learn it, it can be a little bit difficult, interference here and there. But when you start early as a child, you have enough time to make mistakes. You have enough time to learn from your mistakes, and you have enough time to get better. Another thing is that when you learn when you're learning a language, it stretches your mind. Okay, learning French language, it stretches your mind. You see, the mind of a bilingual child is stretched. A child who is exposed to language has a better cognitive, understanding than a child who is not exposed to language. Okay, so make it a point of this. Don't say, I don't like it. No, just embrace it. Embrace it because it's going to help your future. The world is a global village as it is right now. So we all need each other. And when you talk of language, and I'm talking about French, I'm trying to say that every language is important. Okay, we're taught these days to teach your children, even your mother tongue is an advantage for them. Okay, it's important as much. Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. Imagine if you find yourself in a place where you don't understand their language. You will look like a deaf and dumb because you only have. I would like us to expose yourself, open up your mind, and learn French language, especially. All right. Before I end, I would like us to still sing my song. Do you remember the song I just taught you? Do you remember? If you remember, can we all sing it together? Because I want you to keep singing the song even after this book fair. Let it be something you just keep singing it. French, a beautiful language. I love French language, and it's true. Can we all sing it together? Let's go. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Je dis la vérité. Je dis la vérité. Oh. Le français est une belle langue. J'aime beaucoup le français. Parlez français. Parlez français. Parlez. Parlez français. Parlez. Parlez français. Thank you very, very much. I hope you had fun and I hope you've learned some things. You've learned some things you can find in the library, what a library is called in French, and some other objects, and also why it's important for you to learn French. Thank you so much, Ms. Laurie, for this opportunity. Thank you very, very much. I am very grateful. Bonne soirée et au revoir. Merci beaucoup.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Tante Christine. Thank you for having us, joining us today. The children have enjoyed very, very good time. I have enjoyed a good time too. Thank you. Love Francais. Let me not get that off, but thank you so much. And we have come to the wrap of today's event. We will continue next on Saturday. There's someone lined up for us. And on Saturday, we would also be learning another language. So you join us. You have registered for, you have your password, you can sign in, and there's also a direct link to the programs. Please ask mommy and daddy to also join us. They can join the adult session. A lot of great things have been happening at the Nigerian International Festival of Books. So mommies, daddies, uncles, aunties can also join. The children's segment is ongoing. We're having on Saturday and also on Sunday. Remember, you have an assignment to write about my streets, which Mr. Palaufeso asked us to, the challenge he gave to us. Till we see again on Saturday, I'd like to give the other details to our host at the Nigerian International Book Festival. So if we have our chairman and the other anchors there, we could hear your word for the children. But before then, if we do not have, we can have the second part of our, sorry, I just want to share the screen for us to see the Nigerian Books Festival and what has been going on in the past years. We are the ones make a better place, so let's start here.
There's a choice to make it. We're saving our lives. Each kid will make a better day. Just join me. Well, send them your heart. So they know that someone cares. And their life will be stronger and free. As God has shown us.
Wow, thank you. Thank you all. I want to say a big thank you to all our facilitators today. We're grateful for making this first day a really memorable one. Children, I hope you've enjoyed today. Can I see a show of thumbs up? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Good. Thank you for joining today. And Saturday promises to be a really great time. Join us at 4 o'clock on Saturday, where we will continue to engage at the Nigerian International Book Fair 2020. See you.
#1 online marketplace for buying books, making available to you a wide range of books to meet your needs. We provide quality, non-pirated books at comfortable prices and deliver them to our customers, which means we have removed the stress of you going to a bookstore. To place an order, visit our website at www.buybooks.ng. Call or WhatsApp us at 090-6000-4528. Place your order today at buybooks.ng.
Dare Oluwafi is my name. I'm the managing director of CSF Butchers Limited, a company that has been in existence for 150 years, and we are still waxing strong. I'm also the current president of Booksellers Association of Nigeria. This year, CSF Butchers will be participating as exhibitors at the first Nigerian virtual book fair. This is the first edition of it, and because of the pandemic that's still currently on, we couldn't hold the physical book fair this year, so we are being virtual. And we are leading African countries to this. This is the first of its kind in Africa. CSF Butchers Limited is inviting you to visit our page, interact, and we are also looking forward to your placing orders or making purchases, which we will deliver to your doorstep. At the book fair, we are also going to have conferences, seminars, and workshops. The topics that we shall be treating are very relevant to everyone, especially at this time, and we are enjoying you all to attend these programs, which will be of good benefit to us all. CSF Butchers is looking forward to seeing you as you interact at our page. Thank you. God bless.
Welcome to Quarterfold Printability, a trusted print partner for publishers all over Nigeria, including University Press PLC, Razmed Publications Limited, Learn Africa PLC, Tanis Books Limited, Spectrum Books Limited, Evans Brothers Limited, Shower Kitties Publishers Limited, Metropolitan Publishers Ltd. We are a leading and fast-growing print and publishing company in India with presence across the world and specializing in printing school books and educational print materials. We have the expertise to transform your project from on-screen concept to a final masterpiece, utilizing the best in technology and innovation to ensure that you get quality work. Whether you're looking for short lead times or have a tight budget, we are properly structured to provide outstanding print services that meet your needs without compromising on quality. Best of all, we partner with the largest shipping partners to ensure that you get your books delivered to you on time, every time. Trust your books to the book printing experts. Visit www.quarterfoldltd.com or reach out to us at info@quarterfoldltd.com for more information. We would like to thank all the publishers for their constant support, without whom none of this would be possible. We would like to specially thank
You're welcome to the 19th Nigerian International Book Fair, and we invite you to the stand of Academy Press PLC. And this is a virtual book fair. And we all know in this season, we're just reminding you all to keep on wearing your masks, observe social distancing, and make sure you keep safe. Do have a pleasant exhibition. Thank you.
Awesome.